Hey, my name's Ronnie, and this is my story. When I was a kid, I was generally familiar with church. My grandmother made me go on Sundays, and there was a youth group on Saturdays. Being that young, I didn't really want to do it. It was not really what I believed, even though I didn't really know what I believed, but I rebelled against it. I didn't want to do that, and it wasn't a far reach from that to turning into an atheist. From there, I just learned through different situations and circumstances that I went through to really hate Christians. I hated the whole idea of it. And people at school I would ridicule and harass just for being Christian. And one day that changed when a new kid came to our school. I didn't really know him, but I could just sense that he was full of the whole church scene, and that made me instantly resent him. I used to pick on him, I used to call him names. I hated the kid. And something that really challenged where I stood with faith is one day he asked me to go to his youth group. And I couldn't believe that. Everything that I put him through, and he's offering an invite to something like that. So week after week, I would make up an excuse. Just, I needed to do work in my grandfather's house, or I had to stay home and do work. And finally it came to the point where, okay, I'll go, and that'll be the end of it. He'll leave me alone about it. Might as well humor him. So after school, his mother picked us up at a bus stop, and we went towards Cambridge. I didn't know where the church would be. We pulled up to the church, and I got out. There was a lot of people I didn't know, and I wasn't the most social guy in school. So we go into the house and into the basement where the youth group was held, and I didn't know a single person, but I could feel a sense of family and acceptance, and I instantly fell in love with that. So later that night, everybody's praying and listening to worship songs. I didn't know a single word, and something in me just broke. I laid on the ground and I just cried and cried and cried. I didn't know why, but it just felt like something in my heart had just snapped. So after youth group, they took me home, and the second I got into my room, I just broke down crying. And it was the hardest cry that I've ever had. I was howling and screaming, and I didn't know what to do. So I laid in my bed trying to go to sleep, and it was the first time that I ever spoke to God. I asked him, I was like, God, I've never really done this before, but if you're listening, can you please help me? Because I can't live like this any longer. So then I went to sleep, and that morning it felt like just the world's weight was off of my body. I felt free of the anger and the hatred I had for people, and I just couldn't believe it, but I still wasn't sure what it was. So from then on, I continued going to youth group. Fast forward about 5 years, I've been baptized. I've attended several Christian meetings, conferences in other states. I've become very popular for being the kind guy that I've learned to be through Christ. And I'm going on a missions trip in October to China. That's my story on how I met Christ. What's yours?